affect you. Don't you know everything's alright? Yes, everything's fine, and we want you to sleep well tonight. 'Cause I'm on fire when you love me. Kiss me passionately. Push me, push me, push me.
Guys, I'm joined by the beautiful Kate Ceberano. How you going, Kate?
Hello. It's very nice to meet you.
Yes, you too. Absolutely. I spoke on the phone once or twice, but we've actually never been face to face before, so it's a pleasure to meet you.
And you. And how's it all been going in ISO? How are you doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. It's different. It's I'm always a homebody, so when I can go out and do what I want to do, I don't. But when I can't, I want to get out.
Yeah.
But I think we're all in the same boat when it comes to things like that, aren't we?
Yeah, I think if there's anything that we can take away from this time is that we all got off our asses and learnt new tricks.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you've got your show, and I'm doing.
Oh
my
my God,
I'm
yeah.
doing my little thing here too, and I'm doing things now I would never have done if it wasn't for isolation.
Yeah, well, I mean, almost it's beyond isolation as well. It's that the work that we all had, certainly for myself, up to about 6 to 8 months, has all been deferred to next year. And then all of the recording, which I was going to be doing in Nashville, actually, I was on my way over to Nashville to record an album with a producer, a friend of mine, Rick Price, and that was all cancelled. My daughter had to come back from school where she was over there as well, studying at boarding school. And I mean, I just don't think that any of us expected to be disrupted so completely. And then, and from that empty space, suddenly we've had this opportunity to think, well, I've no choice but to actually go and do these things that I've been putting off for 10, 15 years, you know, like learning how to use my social media, learning how to use the internet, understanding the website. I'm still struggling. I still couldn't get my Skype going today, which is really annoying.
I'm bloody hopeless. I was no help to either, Kate. So there you go. We're in the same we're in the same boat together. But,
I'm an old diva. I'm much older than you, darling.
Yeah, it's amazing. It is an amazing time. Like when you actually start thinking about things that are happening at the moment, it's the sort of things you never think would ever happen. And as you just said, a lot of businesses are struggling at the moment, as well as the entertainment industry, like ourselves. And like you guys were about to hit the road with the Good Times tour too, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, there have been every strata of employee has been struck during this time, which is one of the reasons why I opened up my lounge room for the sessions. I mean, it hardly seems unique now, but in the first week when it happened, I was so gutted for all of the staff and my musicians and all of the touring party and, you know, everyone that was counting on this income just to keep them alive. We just spent, as you probably did as well, a month of putting out a fire all across the country. Yes. All of our Saturday nights and all our working experiences were donated for the efforts to help rebuild Australia after those enormous fires.
Yes.
So none of us had anything really to relax back into. So we all I was gutted. And so I went, okay, I've got to at least help my mates get some lolly money, whatever that means, you know, $20, $30, because they were quite literally overnight rendered hand to mouth, you know, like suddenly they weren't eligible for any kind of employment benefits either.
No, on a positive side to it all.
Yeah, that's good. You strike me as an optimist like me. It's good.
I'm out in the Central West at the moment, and I don't know whether you can hear it, but it's absolutely peeing down rain right now.
Isn't it ironic? I'm sitting here, I've got the fire going, and there's just been the most intense waterworks going on here as well. Well, we are blessed, and look, I think that humanity is probably going through, in some ways, a necessary reboot, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
I think that we're going to come out of this with other qualities that will define us, like we're connected more, we'll have spent more time with our families.
Yeah,
we will have, yeah. being less absorbed with our own concerns and more absorbed with the community concerns.
That's exactly right. I'm a big advocate for mental health.
Yes.
And I think mental health is obviously a big thing at the moment too, because people, are restricted to going to certain things to get out of the house. And I know from personal experience that mental health makes you feel like you're the only one going through this thing, that whatever it might be in your melon, So I just think that it's very important for people to speak.
Yes.
It's very important for people to know that they're not alone during this time, and that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and we're all going to run out the end of it before we know it. So
true enough. And in addition to just what you just said then too, I think that people underestimate the power of their mind. We have the power to make ourselves well and ill, really. I'm not talking magic. I'm talking just the true science of how depressions can depress us cellularly. And, we're sitting here in our houses, and there will be the highest rates of mental issues and alcoholism, domestic abuse. I mean, I don't mean to, I feel like I've just gone and dumped on your beautiful rainbow there, and I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. You just reestablished, you just let the light back in, and I just put in a rainstorm all over again. I didn't mean to do that. But what I do think is that ultimately, though, if we knew and we could be encouraged to listen when people say your thoughts have the power to change the way you react to the environment around you, if you can think or you can exercise your mind towards more positive things, then the environment won't seem quite as threatening. I mean, that is just, it's common sense, really, isn't it? But
it is.
We've got a new puppy this week, and I was amazed at how animals can rehabilitate joy when, there seems at the moment there's not too much to be enormously joyful about, except for the fact that we're all closed in together, and that we're doing a good job. Like, apparently the stats are looking really good for our country. We've done a very, very good thing as people.
Yeah.
But a puppy just, who has no care in the world, and that little tail just doing this,
Absolutely, Kate. Absolutely. You are one amazing woman.
Oh.
You have an OAM. You're a numerous ARIA Award winner. You've had like 15 to 20 ARIA nominations. You've had hits including Bedroom Eyes, Brave, Pash, Everything's All Right with Johnny Farnham and Johnny Stevens. I don't know what else to say. It's amazing, and I'm blown away that you're here on my talk show right now having a yarn, and it's
I'm also a great fan of celebrating artists, especially Australian artists, because I think that we're a very gentle community in Australia, and we sort of go after you, after you, after you, after you, and and then consequently suddenly America and English, the artists are more important than our own. And I just think that there's this small handful of the honour roll in this country, and unless we start to share and celebrate those wins with all of the new community and new generation that come up, then we're not going to have a legacy for our children and their children. Do you know? Like, I was on this weekend on the Anzac Channel 9 series that they did, which was a wonderful experience. And I am very versatile, because I'm a human first, and a musician second, and a singer probably third. That's how I see it. And I respond to the human call that people need to be together. They need to sing together, whether it's in church or if it's at bands, or at the AFL footy, or if it, they need to sing in one voice just to remind themselves that they're connected. So I'm very much human first. And then the second, as a musician, I always find that there's no end to what to discover. I mean, I sit here, I have a piano here, and we know that there's only a certain amount of notes there, but yet people are still inventing new ways to communicate.
Yes.
From that one series of notes, right?
Yes.
Which tells me that it's all to do with how you are as a person and what you want to do to others. And on the night of the other gig, I noticed they invited me to do something with Bliss and Esso, which were a hip hop group, and I was thrilled because I thought, well, they're using those notes and the voices of their experience to tell a different story to me. But I'll never forget when I heard Eminem singing with Dido. Do you remember that track? That
Yeah.
he did. Yeah, he did it about a fan. It's called The Fan, the song.
Yep. Yep.
And if you ever listen to it, you know that Dido has offered this beautiful resolve to what is the most harrowing nightmare of a story. So anyway, as a person, I'm always interested to try to involve myself with new experiences like that and try to be the voice that's the soothing part. It's the everything's all right from Superstar part of me. It's the, it's all going to be fine. It's the brave, it's the optimistic sort of part of me that loves to offer myself to real life like hip hop. I love that.
Yeah, it's amazing, absolutely. And I mean, many people would know of you through Jesus Christ Superstar as well. What was that like? That would have been amazing. That was with Johnny Stevens and
John Farnham and John Waters. It was all the great Johns of the country, and Angry Anderson as well. And we had Shakespearean actors, and we had 30 choir and a 40-piece orchestra, all being conducted by an Academy Award-winning sound and pianist and instrumentalist. We had the very, very best of the best. The thing that I loved about that, Jace, which was something that isn't common, is that we were signed on to do 8 shows. It was a big production, and every night there was 16 to 18,000 people. And that the majesty of the music that was scored by Andrew Lloyd Webber, of course. And he's a very classical composer, but these contemporary lyrics by Tim Rice, which just blew my mind. Like, he was able to discuss religion and its benefits and the things, and well, basically the rival of the two ideas of what religion should be, perhaps, and what it's become, and what it, and then he made that really work. So we were there every night listening to this music and performing, like I said, to 18,000 people. And 8 shows became over 110 shows around the country. It just wouldn't stop. And actually, it wouldn't have stopped at all. We could have just kept touring it around. But Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice, they're not really good friends. And they sort of don't even like making each other money. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, that's...
So they're like, kill it.
That's phenomenal. Absolutely.
I can tell you, when the choir would start, it had this, this whole big, and honestly, every night that it would happen, we would line up, and for the however many hours the show was going, we were so dedicated to that piece. I've got my friend. Can you hear my friend out there playing guitar? No, you probably
yeah, it sounds good.
That's Kathleen. She's amazing.
Yeah, she is. I've checked it out on Instagram because she started following me and I'm doing a few things on there. And she's amazing. Absolutely.
I think you're amazing. Actually, thank you. I'll tell her you said that too. But I couldn't believe the breadth of your reach in what you've and the success you've planted for yourself since you were on television, and you've explored every avenue where you could, really expand your conversation to Australian people. That's amazing.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, it's I guess as as an up and coming artist, I think it's about finding your niche, where you belong. And I've been very, very lucky since the X Factor days where all my career sort of kicked off, that I've been given an opportunity through different record companies and managers and so forth to explore different avenues. And luckily, I never sort of, hit a sort of a brick wall in any direction where I sort of just fell. I sort of had a bit of a go there and a bit of a go there, and all of a sudden you just get into this niche where you go, oh, geez, there it is, that's where I need to be. And then you just sort of test it out, and then all of a sudden you can marry a couple together, and all of a sudden you start finding where people really enjoy your music, where it suits your voice, where you want to be more than anything, I think.
Well, do you think, though, something about you was always destined to do this, though?
Was there something about me? Sorry, did you
Yeah.
say?
You must feel there must have been some part of you that was destined to do this.
I love music, and ever since I was only a little fella, I grew up in a little town of only 12 people, Kate, in central New South Wales. And my granddad, I was the only child in the town for a long time, and I grew up around my pop, and he was a mad John Denver fan.
Oh,
and he used to say, mate, if you can sing this, you can sing anything, you know. He was a mad John Denver fan, and next thing you know, I went on the show and auditioned with a John Denver song, and I think it just connected with so many people around the country. And, you know, I'm very blessed because I love my music, and I love, you know, doing what I do. And to be 8 years down the track, sitting here speaking to icons like yourself, I'm pretty
I don't even
pumped.
think of it. You know, it's funny you say it like that, but actually, as we sit here in our houses, each of us are only human, and all of the things that have been before, they seem almost pointless. Really, the only things that really concern me, and I'm sure they only concern you too, is what will we do tomorrow?
Yeah.
Who will we be tomorrow? Like, yeah. Yes, I've always loved what I've created and very proud of what I've created, but I've never glanced over my shoulder to look back at where I've been. Like you, it seems you're very much towards where you're going. And also, I don't know whether I'm wrong in saying this, but I think you're very service-oriented like me. I think we live to serve others in our music and our art. Even bringing these stories forward, you're sitting there asking me questions and desiring to give your audience an insight to what makes us tick. We women, we in music, we just artists generally, and that in itself is a great service. There's not a hell of a lot of people that can allow that entry point without labouring it with some other agenda. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes it's, you know, MTV, or there'll be some other music show, or there'll be some other something, and they sort of want you to kind of, I don't know, take them through how you did it. But
yeah,
I think we're discussing more about not how, but why. You know, because why we did it is because I don't think I could have done or been any good at anything else.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
You know, I could, you know, maybe I wanted to be a prima ballerina, but I definitely wasn't built for that.
I'm not either.
You feel me?
You know, yeah, absolutely.
We're purpose built, buddy.
Yeah, that's it. But you know, it's it's.
Oh, and also sorry, I'm so
no,
sorry.
you're right. You're go.
No, but I was gonna tell you something, because like you're 28, right? No, 24.
26, yeah.
Excuse me. I know, sorry. So I'm 30 years older than you. So when I was your age, or just a little younger, I thought I was, you know, a lot heavier than my friends, and I had very bad skin, and I wore glasses. So I had the 3 slights that a young girl feels they have to overcome. Or it could have been anything else for that matter. It could have been anything else. But for me, it was just, I thought, I'm going to have to learn to do something that will communicate to someone and make them notice some part of me that isn't my glasses, my fat ass, or my skin. And that was just where we ended up with music.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah.
Sorry, probably oversharing a bit there, but there you go.
No, but it's the thing is, it's true. You know, like it's everyone's destined for different things, different. Like as you just said there, you know, I think like for myself, you know, I've always been wanting to go into my music thing, but I'm not. You know, if I ever got a call for Dancing with the Stars, I've got a hell of a lot of work to do. You know, and things like that. But you know. In saying that, we always, before any of this ever happened to either of us, there's never one thought that it was going to happen. It was like, I'd love to be able to do this, and you make it happen, you know.
Well, and the other thing I mentioned about you being in the service of others, you'd probably go on Dancing with the Stars knowing that there's someone who feels exactly like you out there, and you would be an inspiration to that person, that single person who probably would never see himself dancing, but he's watching television and he's feeling your journey and he's dancing because you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. You won Dancing with the Stars, didn't you?
I'm just saying, I won that thing. But you know, you have to understand, I'm going to tell you a story which it isn't commonly known, but it's an important part of what winning Dancing with the Stars meant to me. About a month before we were about to start filming, I had to have an operation on my throat, and it wasn't confirmed whether the outcome would mean I could sing, actually. I had damaged my larynx during the time when I was pregnant, and a little polyp had grown on it, not from singing, actually. It was a little tear. And they were saying, look, we can't promise that you will sound like Kate Ceberano. We can only promise that you will save your ability to speak, you know. So I was like, wow, okay, so this is really actually, this is where I have to make a decision. Well, I have to say I've been grateful for my life. I've loved my life as a singer, and my life will have to change now. But because I was a new mum, I was satisfied at the fork in the road. I was like, okay, that's fine. We'll do something else. But anyway, we did the operation and I couldn't speak. I wasn't allowed to speak for a month. So I learned how to dance with John Paul, my partner, in the month when I wasn't allowed to talk. So we did it all in silence. And
really?
Yeah. And on the first night of the show, it was the first night I was actually allowed to use my voice.
Oh. Wow,
So,
well, there you go.
I felt like I'd already won. It didn't matter how it went after that first night, because I'd just had this most amazing therapy with a person who really cared, and he was really gentle, and he took me through a journey that was off the camera but was more important than any of the second half of that journey.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, there you go, eh? That's something new for everyone. Unbelievable, Kate.
You and I are probably good examples of people who, I think that because we genuinely love what we do, I'm not frightened of doing live performance necessarily, because I like that it exposes a part of me that's sometimes on and sometimes it's not.
It's
you know,
real.
It's real, and it's the real experience. Singing with you, it gave me an opportunity to just simply relax and sit into it and listen to your recording, which is beautiful, and you're like, oh, those beautiful notes. In the end I just thought, I'm just going to let him sing this whole song, because because it's a choice you make, isn't it? It's a choice. I don't think singing just for singing's sake is where it's at. You've got to, by the time you were in the middle and out to the end of the song, you'd just taken it into this whole other space. You really should record that song. It's beautiful. You do it so well.
Thank you.
If I should say I would only get in your way, so I'll go. But I know I think of you every step of the way.
Bittersweet memories, that is all I'm taking with me. Goodbye, please don't cry. We both
And I hope you have all that you've dreamed of.
And I wish you joy
So much joy.
and happiness. But above all this, I wish you love. And I will always love you. I will always love you. I will always love you.
That's so beautiful. So beautiful. Well done, you.
Yeah, and at the end of every chat, I have this little section called Curious Questions,
Okay.
and it's just something I ask for people at home. And the first question I'd like to ask you is: have you been able to maintain motivation during this isolation lockdown? And if so, how? How have you been able to do that?
I think I've responded to lockdown in a very unique way because the first 4 days I felt like I was in shock and I couldn't speak. It's like my face was numb. I was terrified that maybe this was World War III. How was I going to explain it to my daughter that being 16 right now is going to be really tough because she can't hang with her friends, she can't be at school with her friends. So how I responded, I got out in the backyard and I started a fitness program.
I've seen that. Yeah.
And it's the cutest, daggiest thing because I threw all vanity into the wind and said, no, I need to move my body. I had a dream on one of those nights, those awful nights of being scared, and I dreamt that I was running towards something, but I couldn't keep up with everybody. And I thought maybe this was like a sort of metaphor for needing to stay strong and physically well in case, obviously none of us want to get ill.
No.
So I immediately got out the back and I just started just working out as if my life depended on it.
Great. Yeah, it's fantastic. Absolutely. I've seen that. It's amazing. And I'm glad you can get that motivated because I'm bloody hopeless.
Well, one foot becomes one leg, becomes one limb, becomes one part of your body, just one little bit at a time, mate.
Yeah. Kate, what would you say your biggest highlight? I mean, you've had so many highlights throughout your career, but is there one in particular that really sticks with you?
There are many.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But I thought there might have been one that might have stuck with you in particular.
It could have been when I was about 8 months pregnant, like literally about to give birth, and I got tickets to see Prince in a very small audience of 60. And the room was so little and he had to get past me to get onto stage, and he couldn't actually get past me because my tummy was so big. And he was a very little man.
Yeah, right.
So that just goes to show how big I was, how little the room was, and how difficult it was. And he was playing on stage with this great, famous saxophonist, Maceo Parker, and they were like, "Yo, look at that girl! She's like, fit to burst." I'm like, "I'm staying here, even if I have to give birth. I want to watch this concert."
That's great. And one more for people at home, Kate. Who would be one of the most interesting celebrities you reckon you've ever met throughout your career?
Ooh. Now, I've met many celebrities and that ranges from royalty as well, like Lady Diana, right through, as I said, I met in the 80s, I had a lot to do with a lot of the British artists. Malcolm McLaren, who was the chap who started the Sex Pistols, which was really interesting in my early days. But then I've also, I don't know, I think, is it someone that you're asking I would have loved to have met or I actually did meet? Sorry,
is there anyone that you hadn't met that you would have liked to, or is there someone in particular that you did meet that you found interesting and it's just something about them made them stick out a lot more to you?
Yeah, I would have loved to have met Aretha Franklin.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, I would have loved to have gone to one of her church services and just simply been one of the anonymous singers, enjoying the feeling of being in the room with that sound, that wall of sound, and the freedom with which she could throw her voice around. And you know, and she sort of did it kind of in a way, again, that wasn't for the sake of showing off anything at all. She wasn't showing anything. She was simply demonstrating her love and her faith. And I think sometimes in our lives we miss the opportunity to simply sing for the sake of singing.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, she was absolutely phenomenal. Her voice
Yeah.
will always be here. And
Yeah.
Kate, I really thank you very much for your time.
That's
Amazing.
good.
And I want to thank you so much for having me on last Friday. It was so great.
Oh, no, look, I'm so grateful that you were so keen. It was a quick turnaround, and I've been reaching out to a variety of people, but I had a vibe about you, and my vibe has come true, and that is that you're a good bloke, and I hope we actually get to meet each other and get on stage and have a bit of a sing actually out of ISO. That'd be great.
I'd love to. Whenever I'm down that way, I'll be sure to flick you a text message, and if you're around, we'll catch up and have a song. I'd love that. That'd be amazing.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much, Kate.
No
we love having
worries.
you on, so thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you. See you later.